Hello all! So today we are going to do a little bit of stippling. Now we are going to use the Dragonhawk Fold Pro Year of the Horse at 2.5mm stroke. It's a tattoo machine, and we are going to use for that some ballpoint pen cartridges and also some rotary machine. These are the cartridges. With the top, with the point in a sort of a ballpoint pen. We're going to start it up. And that's it. So today I'm going to do a couple of cherries with some human eyes on them. Let's go for it. Hope you guys have a nice week. There's nothing better to start the week than with a little bit of stippling. Just going to change the cartridge. Hello there. Hello all. All good? How's your Monday? For those who are joining in, I'm doing here a couple of cherries using the technique called stippling with a tattoo machine and a ballpoint pen cartridge. And it's a couple of cherries with 2 human eyes on them. You guys are having a nice beginning of the week. It's not shading the eye. Just feathering a little bit from the black area to try to create a smooth gradient here. Sorry for the noise, the extra noise, because I guess my neighbors are like sledgehammering their houses. Now changing for the rotary machine. I'm now applying like a base to the whole cherry. Just trying to apply like a light, smooth base to it, and then we are going to enhance or darken up the areas we need to. This area will be more darkened, like this one. Also the bottom part. I'll keep here, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, I'll keep here between this, the first cherry and the second one, I'll keep like a little highlight so they can be noticeably separated from each other, because both of these parts are black, almost black, it's very dark. So I'm just leaving a little bit of a highlight between them so we can separate them. Now doing the drop shadow, and the drop shadow is really dark, so no need to be afraid here. And now create just a little bit of gradient so the drop shadow could fade out with no harsh edges or nothing like that. We'll revisit everything as long as we are, for now, as I said, for now we are just doing like the first base layer on everything, and after that we are going to revisit again everything just to see if we need to darken up stuff or if you need to create more contrasts in certain areas. So for now, nothing that I'm doing here for now is definitive. So bear in mind that this is only like the first layer. As I said before, here's the slight highlight we are going to leave between them. Now we are going to do some like blood rays around the eye. Let's go for the stem. What you guys think about what's coming? What's looking like? For now, yeah, it's kind of a mess, really. But as with everything, if you trust the process, you'll see that will become way better. Also, everything here is like how do I mean? Everything here it's like it's exercises. Yeah, like I've done this one. I can show you other stuff. I've done this yesterday, for example. I've done this, I don't know where, but the other day. Done this one, like this one, this, yeah. And I have a few others that are not here, but yeah. They are merely exercises. Okay, and now we have this dark area as the previous one. Okay, now let's go for the leaf. As I said before, how's your Monday going? All good? Okay. Thank you for being there, for keeping me company. If you guys want to chat or say anything on the chat itself, be my guest. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. Nice. Now we are going, the base is there, now we are going just to stipple everything on the top, just to change the tone a little bit. So we don't have these blank eyes competing with the really highlights of the design. Just really lightly, just passing through everything. Okay? Okay. As I said, this is like the first layer. And now all this should be like black or dark tone, and only in the inside here of the eye will be like a little bit white, create like a more contrasty image. There are a lot of ways you can work your tones and create like a smooth area. I like to do like the layering effect. The layering effect is like this, like you you apply, for instance, like a directional stippling in one side, then you crosshatch, do on the other side, and if you need to create like some gradient, let's say, then you push a little bit harder on where your dark tones are and flick out like you, so the lighter tones will not have that much information, like this, you know. Here, what I'm doing here is like the pendulum technique, because you're doing like this and only flicking in the middle almost to create like a smooth shading effect. I don't know if you notice this on the camera, but if you, let's see if you do, I don't know. Please tell me if you can notice it. On this first cherry, I used this machine, and this machine has like a 4.0 millimeter stroke, which leads to more spaced out dots, and so the overall stippling and the overall look of it will be a little bit more harsher, and will have like a more sparse dots on it. On this one, I'm using the Fold Pro with the 2.5 millimeter stroke, because so we are going from 2.5 to 4 millimeters, and here the dots are really close together. As you can see here, I don't know if you can, but at least here where I am standing in front of the drawing, it's the difference is really noticeable. So do I have like tattoo artists on the chat, or not really? Just enthusiasts, or just people who enjoy doing arts, or and as I said before, I don't know if you are here since the beginning, but we left like this little highlight to separate both the cherries, and you can see here it really works, because now we can see if I would pack everything in black, it would be like a mess. It would be like a huge blob of black in here, and since I just leave here a slight highlight, we can thinner it a little bit more even. We can see the difference between where one starts and when the other begins and where the other ends. Just like a little slash here of a highlight, and it's enough to separate both of them. Now let's deal with the eye. For the eye, I'm going to use the 4mm stroke one, just to be quicker to fill like these black areas. If you are liking the live, you can say something, you can subscribe. If you are wondering how to do this at home, you can do it as well, obviously. In my description you have there like a link for my course on this. If you don't want, it's paid, yeah. If you don't want to pay, well, just keep up with just be here and you can ask questions and I'll try to help you as much as I can. Feel free to do it. Okay. The main black areas are done. And now we are going to create like this little race. Okay, well, yeah, I'll keep going with this one. Just going now to feather a little bit more these black areas around the eye, towards the eye, with that flickering motion I told you before, like pick and flick. Almost like the Harry Potter movie, like pick and flick. And the same a little bit from the inside out. Okay. Just to reinforce some rays here. Okay. Now, as you can see here, like the first base, well, it's not done. I was going to say it's done, but no. Just need to do these little highlights, this really thin blood vessels. Okay. Now this wasn't on the reference, but it felt a little bit empty there. Okay. Now, as I said before, the first base is it's done, and now we are going to try to give it a little bit more contrast to everything now, since we are going to see what needs to be reworked a little bit more and what can we do to make this a little bit better than what it is right now. At first instance, what I can see here is that I need a little bit more darkness right here, way more. Right here as well, a little bit more dark to compete a little bit with the eye, because the eye is way too dark comparing with the shading. So we need to create like these really dark spots on the shading as well. Also on the leaves, trying to darken up a little bit more the dark tones, the already dark tones. This thing is fine. Yeah, and I guess, well, can darken up a little bit more on the edges here, on the stems. And yeah, that's it. That starts. Let's start with the stems. That's fine. Now let's get to the leaf. You can already see some difference, right? Just marking down like where the veins are. Okay. Okay, now the same on the other side. guess that's fair enough, that's good enough. Now let's go here. Do you guys want to give me some feedback? What you guys think about this exercise? Any type of feedback is appreciated. Okay. This area around the eye should be like all blank, all white, but I really didn't like to leave it like that. Because I guess it would fight a little bit with the really highlight areas, like the reflection areas. So I'm just going to stipple a little bit on, really lightly on this whole area, so it can create so it can create a smoother fade into the other sides of the cherry. Just going to place like a little really light dots and try to not exaggerate. And now just fade it out. I don't like to leave like really blank areas, only if they are really like highlights, like reflections and whatnot. If not, I'll try only at least to stipple really lightly on them, so at least it's something there, you know? Okay, and I guess it's good enough. And this one, I guess it's done. Let's work a little bit more here on the eye. darken a little bit more here, so it doesn't appear so flat, like if it was like a really real curvature. I'm just darkening here like on the outside of the eye, and leave these areas and next to the center a little bit more open, more bright. Okay, I think this can sell a little bit better the idea of the 3D effect. And you're going to do the same here, of course. Okay. Now we are going, as we did here, we are going to darken up a little bit more the rest of the cherry. This is on the back, so it even should be a little bit more darker than this one, and also like do a little stippling on the supposedly white parts, just to help creating a smoother fade. For this kind of stippling, I'm just like making no force at all with the machine. I'm just letting it like touch the paper and work with the machine weights only. I'm not forcing the machine to work here, so because I don't want like really heavy stippling, just a little bit of the just a little light stippling here. Yeah. And now, well, sorry for the noise, for the hammering noise, because my neighbor upstairs, I guess they are going to sledgehammering like their entire house, so sorry. Nothing I can do, honestly. Now I'm going to try to smooth this fade a little bit more. cross hatching to get like for the darker spots. Are you guys enjoying the process? This area is a little bit more trickier here. We don't have that much space to create like a smooth fade. So here guys are hearing? Yeah. Sorry for that. I guess we are coming to the end. What do you guys think? That's fair enough for that's good enough for a practice test. Now I'm just going to try to increase even more, like these areas, these shading areas, these dark areas. And I guess that's it. What you thought? What's your thoughts about this? That's good enough or what? Well, that's it for now. I'll be doing another live tomorrow around the same hours with another design. So Have a nice Monday and have a nice beginning of the week. And well, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.